Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mission Pro Wrestling's Unmatched. We are back for another week. I'm Emily May. I have Front Row here with me, and I have Trenda again is joining us. Welcome. How are you all doing?
Hello.
Hi. Happy Royal Rumble week.
Yes,
I know it's an exciting time here in San Antonio, Texas. And everyone, you could feel like I'm only an hour and a half away, and I could feel the energy. Everyone is ready to descend on Texas. People are already arriving. So we're gonna talk so much Mission Pro tonight, but we're also gonna have a very special Royal Rumble segment because we can't not talk about it, right?
Exactly.
Right. Got to. It's Royal Rumble weekend leading up to WrestleMania. Gotta go.
It is the road to WrestleMania almost. After this weekend, it's everything's all in, right? Everything counts after tonight or after this weekend. Not tonight. I mean, we're not there yet. So thank you all for joining. I know we've been having such a great time breaking down these matches. And so this is our part 2 of the Hell Hath No Fury. And we're going to be breaking it down 2 more matches. And so I hope if everyone has not had a chance to go back and watch this show, you can go back and watch it on Title Match Network and on TitleMatchNetwork.com or on their YouTube channel. And it's a great way to look at Mission Pro Wrestling, look at all of our amazing matches. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going back in time and looking at all of the biggest moments, the biggest matches that have made Mission Pro what it is. Yes. And so it's been so great. We had a great time last week. And this week, I'm so excited to be breaking down another Maddie Rinkowski match. And we're going to be breaking down Maddie Rinkowski versus Red Velvet. And then our second match of the night will be La Rosa Negra versus Big Swole. So 2 really exciting matches. So I wanted to, before we dive into the individual match, I wanted to get everyone's take on how you felt. I know we've been kind of piecing Hell Hath No Fury together here. we're looking at it in pieces, but how'd you feel about these 2 matches together? I'll start with Trenda.
Well, the Maddie and Red Velvet match was really great. It was really great. You can tell that they had some good chemistry, even though I think that was their first time actually wrestling against each other. So I really liked it. Just overall, I know we're going to break it down, but I really love that match. The Big Swole versus La Rosa match. You see, I am representing my La Rosas.
Oh, I love it.
I'm representing tonight because she is one of my favorites. So that was also an awesome match. And in its own way, it was so hard hitting and so equally matched in so many ways. Like you really couldn't tell at one point who would even have the upper hand. So I really enjoyed both matches.
Yeah, I think one of the fun things about this, and they mentioned it a little bit on commentary with Red Velvet training under La Rosa, and of course the 2 matches that we're covering tonight, both women in 2 different matches, but Red Velvet at this point in time had some AEW matches but was unsigned. She would go on to become signed by AEW and then return to Mission Pro to face La Rosa in a student versus teacher match. So it was really interesting to sort of see the study of 2 women at this point in their careers and for them to come back on a later pay-per-view, which I thought was a lot of fun. One of the things we talked about last week was, and I think you've mentioned it on Tuesday night on a Mission, Emily, was the progression and the growth and evolution of Mission Pro as a television product, as a televised product. And we're seeing each pay-per-view, we're seeing the camera work get better. We're seeing a lot of the production elements get better. There was some shaky camera work during that first match, which you really don't see in Mission Pro today. So it was really interesting to see the sort of roots of it all. So I thought that was an interesting aspect. But I like both matches, both hard hitting. All 4 of these women are as real as it gets. So
yeah,
we're talking about the matches.
Yeah, let's dive in. I mean, like I said, overall, Front Row, you mentioned that you could tell that this was like the seed of all of these talents. This is kind of the beginning. This is the second match we've seen of Maddie Rinkowski we broke it down. So if you look at our first Mission Pro Unmatched, we talk about another Maddie, her debut match against Jazz of all people, have a debut match against. Go back and watch that one. But yeah, it's incredible to see this evolution. So let's kind of break down this Maddie match against Red Velvet. So as you can see, like Maddie, when it starts, there's kind of this, I felt like it was very grounded in a lot more kind of like close locks and grappling. And I was very surprised by that because it didn't really start with a lot of like fast, high flying action. It was very like strategic. And so how did you feel, Trenda, about like the start of this match and how there was just really like a tightness to it?
Well, I mean, you could tell both women were in there to handle business. I mean, they did a couple of lockups. I kind of felt like it was like the Miss Reality versus the stir and the split and stir. Like, because I mean, they were pretty much going back and forth and just really trying to let each other know that they were there. Like they were really laying it in the beginning, the hip tosses, it started off really good between them. Like I really didn't have any faults between the way it started off or the ending of it for that matter, but they just they really locked up really well, and you can tell that they both were there to kind of prove something.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was about, when you time it out, it's about a 5-minute, 14-second match. And it didn't feel like that. I mean, at the end of it, I wanted more. I felt like they could have given so much. But what they did do was they did so much in a short amount of time. And I think that shows the testament of how amazing these ladies were at this time and still are. But it really just showed where they were at in this moment of time. And what I also loved is on commentary, and I know I love listening to commentary because Holodead, at this point it was Holodead and Brittany.
Yeah.
And I loved how at this point Maddie really had the Miss Reality, the Kim Kardashian kind of reality star vibe on commentary. There was a lot of descriptions about that, and she just had a very different. Her energy has shifted a bit. So it was just, and she used that a little bit more in this match than I feel like she's evolved differently into where she is now. But here it was, and the crowd. Can we talk about the crowd? Front row, I would love your take on this. The crowd just was cheering for Maddie.
Yeah, I was just going to say, total Maddie fan. Go ahead.
Totally a Maddie fan.
That's what I thought was really fascinating, because we are seeing the evolution of the Miss Reality character. But at this point, there was plenty of attitude. We're starting to see more attitude from Maddie. But she's still the good guy. She's still the underdog baby face, even though this is size differential. Red Velvet, clearly with the hair pulling and all the things that she was doing, was very much playing the heel here and very much wrestled that style. So yeah, to your point, we're seeing steps towards where we are today, which is just a mean, vicious version of Maddie. But even that, we're going to see evolution, ups and downs, the whole roller coaster of the evolution of where she was from the very first pay-per-view to where she is today, as one half of Bougie Reality. So, yeah, from a character perspective, this was, and you're right, the crowd reaction was very much behind Maddie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wonder if some of that doesn't have to do with even at this early stage, she's the hometown favorite. Or the home promotion favorite.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she is, as we saw in some of her previous matches, her dad was out there, her family was out there wearing her t-shirts. They are still her number one fan. They are the loudest in the crowd if you see them ever at a live show. But there was with Jazz there, if you remember, her dad gave Jazz a high five, which, I would too, even if my daughter was in the ring. It's Jazz. You do it anyway. You do it. So I think you're right. I think there is this like hometown hero kind of local celebrity kind of attitude that Maddie brings to the ring, even back then with her second match.
And you can tell Red Velvet was a little ticked about that too. You know, the way the crowd was responding, you can see it in her face and in her emotions. I think that's why she gave a couple of extra stirs in the ring whenever she did, like, you know, something that dominated the match for a moment, which turned out to be, you know, a detriment within itself. Too much stirring going on, not enough paying attention to what's going on in the ring.
Yeah, there's a little bit of showboating going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think she felt that because of the audience. Like there was no Red Velvet fans.
Well, how do you think Red Velvet kind of approached that? Like because it was a short match, but you know, Red Velvet kind of sensed that the crowd was on Maddie's side.
Mhm.
And so how did she combat that in this ring? Because that's an uphill battle as she's trying to like make a statement in the short amount of time that she has.
Well, I think that's where the cockiness came in at, you know, I'm gonna do this move. I'm gonna lay her out or I'm gonna do the splits with her in the corner of the ropes. And
can you do that?
I got my leg up on her throat, you know, I mean, all the extra cockiness came out. Like, I'm gonna show this crowd, you know, you can root for her if you want to, but she can't beat me. So
front row, did you stretch? Did you stretch in order to try to do that move? I tried to replicate it.
It's like you have no choice.
It didn't work.
It's like you want to do it.
I mean, look, I do DDP yoga, but I'm 51 years old, so it ain't happening.
I mean, I danced my whole life, and I still can't do the splits. So it doesn't matter. It's your body's gonna do what it's gonna do.
We're not even gonna talk about me. If I can't see it, I can't achieve it. So I'm not walking in there. That's just something different.
Oh my goodness.
But Emily, to answer your question, you know, one of the things that Red Velvet had to do was to match. She couldn't match size and strength in this match, so she relied on technique, and we saw a lot of really interesting counters.
Yeah.
We saw the headlock counters, we saw the dive counters, and even some of the drop kicks that she threw. She reached deep into the bag to try to get everything working, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely saw like because Red Velvet was kind of on the cusp. She was already, like you said, at AEW many times. She was at other promotions, so she was already at this place where she could dive deep into moves that Maddie might not have necessarily known at this point, or could execute correctly, or that would have, you know, made a difference. And so I feel like even though it obviously didn't go in her favor, I feel like she did counter with some really great like tricks up her sleeve in order to show like, hey, like I can still be dominant in this ring. Kind of
well,
like
they even mentioned
kind of like newbie, like you're a newbie. Come on.
And that's the cockiness. That's the attitude she took too. Like, y'all cheering for her over me.
Yeah. And I love that. Like you need that friction. And that's like, we talked a lot about it. If you guys watched On a Mission on Tuesday, Vicky Dreamboat, she has such an energy that she uses the audience because she comes from improv. She comes from like theater and acting, that she uses all of that chemistry from the audience, that back and forth. It's a conversation. It's a relationship you're having with the audience when you're out there. Like you got to react to them. You got to, you know, have that energy. Like it's a mutual thing. So, and you could sense that in this match that we watched.
But Red Velvet also she took that fighter's perspective. She had that tunnel vision at one point. And they even mentioned on commentary that she comes from a family of boxers. And when she had Maddie in the corner, those strikes in the corner, when she was just, you know, firing away at her midsection, like those are legit.
Well, she has boxing in her family. They talking about those splits, dancing. And so she used all of that to benefit and kind of show what she could do.
And to lose to a roll up.
I know. How'd you guys feel about that? Losing to a roll up? I mean, after all those like those crazy boxing moves and kind of like bringing like, and then it kind of switched around real quick, and she lost in the roll up. George, do you have thoughts on that? You seem upset.
No. Maddie did that dive from the outside into a roll up, which got countered earlier on, and I was like, she's a tall girl to be doing a move like that, and it was pretty great. But that was the counter. Red Velvet was able to counter, and it was, to Trenda's earlier point, Red Velvet was showboating. she was pandering to the crowd, she was too worried about what the reaction was going to be, and she lost focus. And just a simple roll up is all it took.
Yeah. Do you think it was that like hindered her, even though she had the moves? It was too much because she was like not focusing on the
it was all
on the
ego.
task at hand. Yeah.
Right.
All right. So overall, like, did you love this match?
It should have been longer.
I know, that's what I was thinking.
That's the only thing about
I wanted
it.
like 3 more minutes
longer.
Yeah.
Those two definitely could go. Like I said, if for them to have just stepped into the ring together for the first time, there was definitely a great chemistry between the two of them. I mean, it could have went a little longer, definitely.
And something else I have in my notes, and I always pay attention to this stuff. We all do. But Holiday on commentary is hilarious.
Brilliant. It's so brilliant,
adore her.
right?
She's
I'm both frightened by her and very fond of her. So it works.
Well, and I like, speaking of like I love Holiday on commentary. I think everyone needs to hire her to do that. But I also like, speaking of like, I know we talked about it in the beginning, but like the evolution of Maddie, and what I loved is like, this was back in September of 2020. And what was amazing to see is Maddie and Red Velvet have had matches on AEW Dark. And so they've had to like do different scenarios and have had to like up their game a little bit even more and in different ways. And so they both have evolved together. And so I love kind of watching that evolution happen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great to both have that opportunity too, you know, to even be able to be showcased on AEW. So they've both come a long way.
Yeah, and we're already starting to see, for those who are paying attention, just on our second pay-per-view here, Maddie is quickly becoming one of the cornerstones of Mission Pro Wrestling.
Yes, definitely. She has the little cornerstone engraved on our future Mission Pro Hall of Fame.
Yes. Is there a budget for that?
Soon. Yeah, you didn't get that? I thought you got that.
That might be maybe there's a sponsorship opportunity there.
Yeah, sponsorship opportunity. Anyone that wants to sponsor the Mission Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame one day in about 30 years, let us know. So I know it's a little off topic, but JD is asking, can Mission Pro Wrestling have a Love Boat style match later this season between Captain Vicky Dreamboat and an opponent of her choosing? I'm not sure what that entails. I don't know if we talked a lot about having a show on a boat, that a lot of conversations about that. So maybe in our future, we'll have a match show on a boat.
Okay.
We'll see. So if you guys have not seen the conversation with Vicky Dreamboat, go watch our YouTube channel. It was a great conversation. She's so much fun. We are definitely going to do a part 2. Because we have so many, Veda and I have so many questions to ask her that it was just the tip of the iceberg. So, and while we're at it and taking a little break from talking about this match, remember, we have tickets on sale for Kickstart My Heart, and it's our big Valentine's Day show. It's the first show of the year for Mission Pro Wrestling. Kickstart My Heart. So you want to go and get tickets at missionprowrestling.com or Eventbrite, and then you can also watch it on Title Match Network if you can't come here to San Antonio. And sponsorships, Front Row, you wanted me to remind everyone, sponsorships are open for wrestlers, for matches, for the show itself, and we appreciate everything that you all do to help put these shows on. So that's my little spiel.
That was my subtle transition.
That was my subtle transition to plug all of the things going on. So yes, we talked about Maddie versus Red Velvet. Are you guys ready to get into our second match?
Yes.
Awesome. So we are going to talk about La Rosa Negra versus Big Swole. And this, I know we have like a #1 fan of La Rosa right here. You got the sweatshirt, Trenda. So I want to hear your thoughts first on what you thought about this match, because I love all these matches, but I specifically really, really love this one.
Okay, so for this match, I had to watch it back again a couple of times. I really did, because it was some really hard-hitting action going on, especially in the beginning. I just felt like these two women are so equally matched
Yeah.
in so many different ways. And then you would kind of expect like Big Swole to just have an advantage just because of her size, just because looking at her, but La Rosa is very strong. You can tell just like some of the hits, just the back and forth with the clotheslines, the lariats, I mean the takedowns, everything. They were so equally matched in the beginning to the point where I just couldn't do it. I didn't even know who to really root for.
Yeah,
It was so good.
It was so, there was such, I love the first few minutes was them both kind of like teasing each other.
Exactly.
They were kind of like establishing this like teasing energy, and I loved it. Like they were a little bit sassy to each other and just like so much attitude. And then and they were telling a story right there before they even actually had any contact. They were telling a story, and I loved that beginning of that part. But Front Row, what do you think about kind of all just this match and again talking about the evolution of how far these women have come? I loved watching this one and seeing La Rosa, our first Mission Pro champion, really shine in this.
Yeah, I mean, look, my wife and I have been big fans of Big Swole for a long time. She was a big part of the indie scene here in Charlotte. She was tag team champions with Aja Pereira, who's now Aja Smith, ref on WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've seen the evolution and the growth of her as a wrestler. But coming into this match, unlike the first match that we discussed, both of these women were super over, super popular. There was really no evident good guy, bad guy dynamic here. It was just the thrill of the fight, the spirit of the fight. And as Trenda mentioned, man, there's a lot of hard hitting, but there was also a lot of fun in this match with the dancing and the La Rosa trying to get Swole to sort of do those moves, and so
it was like they were dancing.
Fun.
They were dancing.
So what is that? What is that? With Holiday saying like it's almost hypnotizing? Like she didn't really want to do it, but you couldn't help it. Like she just had to go along with it. Like they were literally doing a couple of cha-cha steps in there for a minute.
I know, I loved it. Did it get you guys dancing? I was totally like, let's dance.
Chair dancing.
Yeah, dancing. I was like, I could do this. I mean,
so
everyone. Have you been drinking?
Really?
Not yet. Maybe later.
Anyone? We're not quite there on the episode yet. We're not there yet. I mean, anyone that has seen La Rosa in the ring at Mission Pro or anywhere knows that she brings that dancing energy when she comes out. So we didn't get to really see, at least the clips I saw, we didn't really get to see the entrances. But when she comes out, and like you all know this, she comes out with full on energy, facial expressions, some twerking happening, some dance moves that we have to say, hey, there's kids. So Front Row twerked on Zoom. Mongrovian Mike.
I have never done that.
What?
Yes, there was there.
I feel attacked.
You can't
feel attacked right now.
Off. Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be any twerking on this show. I am not ready for that. So just to tell you,
practice.
It depends on the. It depends on the sponsorship level.
Yes.
Well, okay.
If you guys want to sponsor for $100,000, I will. I will.
That sounds right. I'd agree with that price point.
Yeah. Or all three of us to twerk $100,000.
Yeah, I do it. I'd be willing.
Yeah. Yes, we miss La Rosa as well. So talking about this, like as you said, like Trenda, the energy was off, like just off the charts, right? And again, this was very like focused in the beginning, and then I'm used to La Rosa going like really high flying, really like fast kind of like acrobatic type of stuff, and this was a little bit more grounded.
I was just gonna say,
it was a little bit more grounded until like the last few minutes of the match. Mm-hmm. So did you notice that?
Yeah, definitely did notice it. Swole typically likes to keep her stuff grounded. There's a lot of ground and pound, a lot of striking, kicking, very hard hitting, a lot of reversals. Swole has some of the smoothest arm drags I've seen. Oh my goodness. but yeah, a lot of this was on the ground. We did see an airplane spin, which may not necessarily, which is kind of high flying, depending on what position you're in. But I did like the test of Swole. I love that.
I
There
mean,
was a
I
lot
love.
of great.
Oh
Go
yeah, go
ahead.
ahead, Chanda. No, go
I
ahead.
was going to say there was a lot of great technical wrestling during this match, though.
Yeah.
I mean, just between the two of them, they work really well together. But they both were there to win. They're both there to show their dominance, but it was a lot of great technical going back and forth in so many different ways in this match. Like, I mean, just that bridge that they did at that one point in time, like it was just so beautiful the way Swole just kind of got up and I mean, just everything that the motions that they did and how they just worked well together. Like yeah, I would love to see them actually in this day and time with just where they're both come and I know Swole has isn't in AEW anymore, but just I would love to have them have another match like in this day and time just to see where they've come since then.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. Like that's what I was going to mention as well earlier, is that there was so many technical elements, and maybe that's why I was so drawn to it, is that they focused on like the arm bar and like just the like ripping the shoulder out of it, of like the socket,
literally.
and like just LaRosa's face was so animated, and you could and then I think there was one point she like said shit or something. I'm sorry, I'm gonna curse. But then she like made a face. She made a face like, oh gosh. So even that, like, she has such personality that it comes out 100,000,000% in the ring, and I loved it.
We
your
saw
thoughts on the technical side of it.
Yeah, so we saw, of course, Swole is an incredible athlete, and so is La Rosa Negra. But I felt like in this matchup, about halfway through the match, I felt like Swole was at 100% and La Rosa was maybe at 90 or 80%. You could see that her gas tank was running out a little bit faster than Swole. But at one point, La Rosa fired up and executed this great pop-up power bomb,
Oh yes,
Kevin Owens, and it was awesome. And it's such a crowd reaction for stuff like that. But as the match started to progress, Swole's energy took over, and those clotheslines were just brutal.
Oh my God, they were. Yeah, those are, as the AEW team would say, those lariats right there. They were very powerful, and I noticed that too as well. It seemed like there was one point where La Rosa kind of, it looked like she was pretty much out of gas, like she was almost in the corner or on the ropes a little bit. But she also, right after that power bomb you talked about, she also, it seems like she got that second wind and that second burst of energy. And then right after that, she hit I think the frog splash, which is what she's very famous for. And she hit that with ease, with no problems at all, which was awesome. It was a beautiful frog splash. There was a lot of hang time in there. So, so great match, man.
One thing that I wanted to comment on was at that point in the match where you're talking about, Swole goes for a forearm, I think teasing her finisher, and La Rosa scoops her up into this beautiful scoop power slam. And you see people like a Randy Orton or Dustin Rhodes, like there are people that do it smoothly and quickly, and it was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, she showed, like, La Rosa showed her strength.
Exactly.
In those twice in those really big moments where you're like, dang, her power is it. I mean, because she is a dancer, she's a fitness instructor, so her core and her legs are so strong. And I loved how you kind of didn't see it coming, where you were like, oh, she does all these like tight moves and technical moves, and then oh yeah, she does the frog splash. But having her do the real strong stuff in these beginning matches, I love seeing her really bring that out. And it's surprising because you could hear the audience really get behind her in that moment.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder if this match had any sort of inspiration for her, because if you look at future matches and you see the evolution of her as an athlete, I feel like she grew so much and became more athletic, more muscular, faster, stronger to where we see her today. And maybe this is part of it, but I feel like she's really evolved and grown as an athlete, and she already started from a great point, right?
Well, you definitely can see she definitely got more in shape, more toned since that match. Just the few matches that we had seen her at a Mission Pro, you can definitely see that she toned up a lot since then. A lot more swole than she was.
I mean, I think you've seen like the evolution of everyone, really, like physically and with their attitude and with how they carry themselves in the ring. You see an evolution across the board, because this was only, almost 3 years ago. This September, it would be 3 years. So you definitely just see that evolution, and you continue to see that. And that's what's great, is like we're going back and we're kind of seeing everyone's journey, and that's really special.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Agreed. But I did also like how Swole, went for her finisher, the Dirty Dancing, several times. And I love in a match when you get that the finisher gets teased and countered, and you finally get that big moment. I think it's cool.
Yeah. And it was a knockout. That was a knockout. Yes, that's crazy. I would not have expected. I mean, it's La Rosa, so.
I know. Yeah. I thought it was going the other way, and no.
Me too.
Yeah. See, but that's what's so great, is like when you're so invested in a match and you really don't know which way it's going to go, and it's going back and forth. Like that's what's so great, is when the winner's declared, you can be upset or be surprised.
Or both.
Or all the mixed feelings. So this was a really fun match, and so if you guys want to rewatch it, it's Hell Hath No Fury, and it's on Title Match Network YouTube or TitleMatchNetwork.com. You can watch the whole show, and we're going to be breaking down the last few matches of the show next week for part 3. So tune in next Thursday, 9 p.m. But speaking of winners, because of this weekend, I wanted to do a special Royal Rumble segment. It's what we all. I need a drum roll. Someone do a drum roll. Yay! But I love it. Thank you. But before we get into the official discussion of WWE's Royal Rumble, I wanted to ask you two, because we put out a Mission Pro Wrestling question. If we had, so I'm going to say like final 4, just so we can narrow it down. So if we had a Mission Pro Wrestling Royal Rumble match, all of the amazing women over the course of the years that we've seen in our ring, who are the final 4 that are in the ring?
Whether they're signed somewhere else or not?
Whether they're signed, it is anyone that's walked through the Mission Pro Wrestling doors.
Okay. Trent, do you have your 4?
I think so.
All right, Trent, what about you?
No, in no particular order.
No particular order.
Okay, I would say Roxy, Janai, Genocide, Thunder.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hey, you said at any point in time.
Yeah, any point. What about you, George?
Well, all right. Thunder's currently injured and out of commission, so we're going to give her a pass.
Any point in time.
I get it. So I would go Genocide, Jasmine Allure, Rache Chanel, and Roxy.
Ooh,
I am a huge Rache
that.
Chanel fan. I've said it a million times on our show and here. I think she's one of the most improved.
I actually have her down as like a 5th or 6th.
Oh, okay. You sound like a radio host that I know. Oh.
Hey, I love all the teams.
Oh, Jesus. Thanks, Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah, it's hard. I saw Brian's comment on Twitter, and he just said there's too many names. He's like, there's just too many. And I appreciate everyone that's responded on Twitter. Please keep sharing it, because we want to get the conversation going. And who knows, because there might be talent on there that we haven't had at Mission Pro. So who knows who's looking at that to see who could potentially be at a future Mission Pro show. So everyone keep tagging us. So I feel like I don't know who I would choose really, except the people I have on my list, which are all people you've named. I had Maddie, I had Jasmine, I had Thunder, I had Roxy, I had Lufisto, I had Holodead, I had Roche Chanel. See, I did more than 4 just because it's hard. It's hard to narrow it down.
Is. It really
I would add the Woad in there too. She's been a big part
of my goodness.
Yes. Oh wait, Kylan King, you guys. Kylan King.
How do we forget the king?
How do we forget the king?
The mother effing king.
Yeah. All right. See, I'm with Jimmy. Everyone's my favorite. It's not about favorites. It's just about kind of narrowing it down.
There can only be one winner.
I know. So we're not even going to discuss winners of the Mission Pro Royal Rumble because I feel like we're just going to get in trouble and we're going to fight.
The fans are the winners.
The fans, you guys are the winners, as always. And we're the winners because we get to put on shows for you guys.
I want a real winner.
Everyone's my favorite. I like that. That's going to be on my t-shirt. Everyone's my favorite.
That's so sweet.
All right. Well, let's talk about the official Royal Rumble happening this weekend in San Antonio.
Right.
So we have a few minutes left, and I want to get everyone's thoughts on the Women's Royal Rumble because there's only been a few people announced that are going to be a part of the Royal Rumble. And so I wanted to get some of your thoughts of maybe who's some people you would love to see as some surprise entrance into this Women's Royal Rumble. And the second question, who do we think is going to win?
Okay. Who are we going?
So you're right. There was as of today, only 7 women announced for the Rumble.
7 women, yeah.
23 open spots. I'm sure we'll see a mixture of some of the returning legends, which is always fun. I have a couple of people, and let me pick one, and then I'll kick over to Trenda. I'd love to see Zoe Stark in the Rumble. Okay, Zoe Stark was early on in
Mission Pro, yeah.
Went on and is doing big things in NXT. And she's just this evolution of her character and where she is today as just a badass heel. I would love to see her in the Rumble. Okay.
Awesome. Trenda, what about you?
I know you said, of course there's going to be, all the nostalgia or the older surprises. I'm trying to find a nice way to put that. Not older wrestlers, but if I was to do one and really, I would say we'll see Naomi come back.
That has been a rumored.
I think it's time for her to come back. Royal Rumble has always been one of her things, just like kind of on the men's side, it's been a Kofi thing. She's always had some great Royal Rumble moments where her feet never touches the ground, and with everything that's been going on, I think it's time for her to come back. Yeah.
And did you see her amazing Instagram pictures? Incredible.
No, not recently. No.
Oh, okay, you got to look at it. That's gorgeous modeling shots, beautiful. It's incredible. So that built up some speculation that she would be coming back with the new look and things like that this weekend. So for me, I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of NXT talent coming up into this Royal Rumble. So a lot of the young ones like Gigi and Roxy, and I think there's going to be a lot of NXT talent. It's not going to be there's obviously Raw and SmackDown, but we're going to see some. It might not be tons, but I think there's going to be some surprises, and then obviously some veterans of the industry, some legends, some icons that you need a few of those. And I know there's going to at least be one celebrity entrant or two that's going to be a full-on surprise. It's going to be a full-on 360.
Who could that be, though, for females? Like a celebrity,
I I don't know. But I just,
yeah, I can't think
you
of
know,
one.
like I just like like my spidey senses are telling me that there's going to be a swerve.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It could be like I don't know. It could be the coyote is the San Antonio Spurs. I don't know. The mascot of the San Antonio Spurs. I don't know.
I have two more names for you real quick.
Yeah.
And the first, obviously, last year we saw Mickie James enter the Rumble. She was the knockout, the Impact Knockouts champion. She just regained that title.
Yeah.
And I would love to see her return with her full entrance and all that other stuff. But someone that I think would be really interesting, when the Good Brothers signed, Carl Anderson was the IWGP Never Openweight champion, as you know. And then he was allowed to defend and ultimately lost that title at Wrestle Kingdom. Well, I would love to see the current IWGP Women's World Champion, Kyrie, return with her title at the Rumble, because the crowd will know her. She's a former NXT and WWE superstar. She would be instantly known, and it would be a really cool moment to see two title holders from other companies in the same Rumble.
I mean, there is talks about the, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Forbidden Door, and maybe this is the weekend to have it happen.
Maybe.
I don't know.
We can dream.
I can dream. I'm just doodling on my notebook because all of these predictions makes me nervous and excited for the weekend of Royal Rumble. Yeah. Do you have any last minute predictions or thoughts?
So I think I got one more, and then I'll tell you who I think is the winner. So
yes, let me know.
I think we might see Chelsea Green. I think she might be. She's been doing a lot of tweeting that kind of hints up to maybe she's training for that. And then honestly, as the winner, I think is nobody else other than Rhea. I mean, Rhea's been, in the spotlight so much lately, and then there's all the history between Rhea and Bianca from NXT, and just coming in together, and both of them being super powerhouses. I mean, realistically, I kind of think that they could have reversed roles. Like Rhea definitely could have took the Bianca role, and as far as being the great women's champion and being the face of Raw. I can see her doing that as well. I mean, she definitely has the strength. She definitely has the ability to do so. I think they're so evenly matched. And again, with her getting so much pub as of lately and getting all the spotlight, Rhea for the win. That's me.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with you. I think that they've been building this big storyline with Rhea and like just building up her, and she's ready for this. Like she's ready for this big moment, and it would be a huge WrestleMania moment for her.
I think what about you? And not only that, I don't knock that she might even win WrestleMania. I think she's ready for that too as well.
Oh, we're not ready for WrestleMania predictions yet.
Okay.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet. We got a few months.
I'm just saying, I think she could do it though.
I like it. She can take it all the way. She can take it all the way.
She can take it all the way.
Everyone's agreeing with you in the chat. George, what about you? Who's your prediction to win the Women's Royal Rumble?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Rhea is sort of the easy pick. No offense, Trenda.
Wow, calling her out.
Whoa.
Trenda's anything but predictable. But I do kind of like what she's doing with Judgment Day right now. So I'm kind of fine if she stays there doing her thing there. Not that she couldn't do both. For me, and they've been telling this story really well, and she's been telling this story on social media. Asuka went to Japan, and I'm genuinely hoping, I've been hoping for years that we're going to get the Clown Kana, evil Asuka. And if that version of her shows up at the Rumble, forget it.
Okay.
That's your winner.
All right. Okay. I love when we're like, okay.
Yeah. Like, sure.
All right. Heel turn. Yeah. Yeah.
Heel turn.
Asuka is a great heel when she is in that mode.
Totally.
Go look at her matches.
Utilize her in that way,
It would be awesome though, because I miss a dominant Oscar, just strictly dominant Oscar.
Did you see her match with Minoru Suzuki? I mean,
Yes, yes, I've
she's tough
seen
as
it.
nails.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
That version of Asuka on the main roster, yes, please.
I know. Those are all amazing guesses. You know, we're gonna have to wait and see on Saturday.
let's see.
This is like one of my favorite shows. I know many of our favorite shows of the year. So it's gonna be great, and it's, you know, in San Antonio, and it's gonna be like, you know, the wrestling fans of the world will descend on San Antonio. Yeah, so we're all going to be watching, and we'll probably talk about all of what happened, the aftermath, next Thursday, because, you know, we got to make sure that we have a follow-up conversation.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Thank you both so much for joining, and for all of your amazing insight into all of the matches at Mission Pro. Thank you all for watching. Our fans here, we have Neil, Jimmy, Mongrovian, and Mike, all these amazing people that follow us and watch us every week. We appreciate you, and thank you for watching Mission Pro Wrestling. Follow Front Row, PW Front Row on all socials, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And the Nation's Corner.
And
Nation's Corner is our Saturday show. We're going to be an hour early this week because of the pre-show for Royal Rumble. So 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube.
Amazing. And then Trenda, where can people follow you?
So on Instagram is Habit Forming, lowercase, or on Twitter is still Habit Forming. It's just capital H and MN. Yeah, that's me.
Amazing.
Habit Forming.
Thank you both so much. Go follow everyone. Follow Mission Pro Wrestling. Subscribe. Watch to the YouTube channel, because we're going to be going live more and more each week. We're going to have tons of content. And if you all want to follow me and follow my adventures this weekend, covering all of Royal Rumble and everything, you can follow me too if you want. So thank you all so much, and we will see you next week. Have a great night and enjoy Royal Rumble.